All right, everyone. Welcome to Digital Conversations. I am your host, Billy Bateman, and today I am joined by Jennie Larsen, Marketing Director at Dev Simplify. Jennie, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thanks, Billy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I'll let you introduce yourself in just a minute, but we're going to really be talking about the relationship between having in-house marketing and dev and how they can complement each other. But before we get into that, just tell us a little bit about yourself and about Dev Simplify.
Okay, sure. So my name's Jennie Larsen. I've been a serial entrepreneur since I had my first child at 22. And I ended up in marketing really from just hands-on. I mean, learning it in the trenches. I started marketing my first company before there was an internet. I'm talking the yellow pages, tacking up stuff on boards. My first company was a preschool. And so I really did have to, how am I going to get kids here and that kind of thing. And it went into my first actual company where I was doing marketing and trying to figure out how to get a product out into the market was I purchased a scrapbook company that sold scrapbook kits. And the owner was one of my actual preschool moms. Anyway, I bought the company from her and I loved scrapbooking at the time. And my first kind of true introduction into marketing was with that company. How do I get these kits to stand out amongst a million other, this was before obviously scrapbooking was digital. So how do I get kits to stand out amongst a million other papers, stickers, scrapbooking material? And so rather than going to scrapbooking stores, I went to bookstores because they were kits that could be hung. And so I landed a Deseret book account and a Siegel book and tape account, and they ended up just being huge hits. We're from Utah, so I tapped into the Mormon market and I looked at the biggest market we had and how I could sell to them and went straight to their bookstores. And that was really my first introduction into marketing strategy, and realized I kind of just had a natural knack for it. And I've been doing it ever since. So.
Awesome. So started with the preschool, the scrapbooking, and now you're at Dev Simplify. Tell us what Dev Simplify is, and what you guys do and about your role there.
Okay, so Development Simplified is a full development company. The thing they do most is custom development. So a lot of SaaS products, apps, processes, back-end process. So they do custom coding. They do a lot of websites as well, but not so much WordPress sites or Wix type sites. These are sites where people need something very specific, or they want a very specific customer journey, or something interactive that you have to have custom coding written for. And so I actually approached, my brother is one of the owners. He's owners with two other people. And I approached him and said, it just makes sense to me that you guys would offer marketing solutions because you're a developer. Usually if someone is getting a product developed, they actually need to take that product to the market. And so that's kind of how that whole journey started. And that was about 4 years ago. And since then, we've just become a real powerhouse team between marketing and development. We've realized I've brought in marketing customers that needed development, and development has brought in customers that needed marketing. And so we've actually created this really cool powerhouse team between the two companies. It used to just be Development Simplified, and now we have Marketing Simplified. They are two separate companies, but working under the same, we work in the same offices. We have two offices, but we have two full teams. And so it was a 4-year journey, and the benefit to that has just been massive. And it's just the development feeds the marketing feeds the development, and the customers just really benefit from that relationship.
Yeah, I agree. Like our dev team helps out our marketing team all the time, and then vice versa on product adoption and driving those free trial signups. Like marketing team, we work together pretty closely. So it really makes sense. I think a lot of people make the mistake of thinking they should be separate, not really work together that much. But when we started talking, I was like, man, this is a conversation that if people haven't thought about, they need to at least think about, how do I bring dev and marketing closer together? So Jennie, when we first started talking, like exactly what I wanted to talk about once you were talking about this relationship is, I think it's something everyone should at least be thinking about. Not everyone's going to have the resources, but, as any company grows, you would hope to have the resources to do this and have maybe somebody on development, or from development on your marketing team, or vice versa, have somebody with a marketing background on your dev team. So what have you found are the benefits and advantages of having in-house development as part of the marketing team?
Well, I would say, and I'm going to go one step back from what you just said, because I think this is really key. When you said a lot of people don't have yet the maybe the financial means to have in-house development. And I would just say to that, even if you're not at that stage yet to bring development in-house, get out there and network with development companies and build those relationships, because it really is beneficial to not only your company, but also to your customer. So, go meet developers, take them out to lunch, start building that relationship, understand what they do, meet every couple weeks, and with the understanding that it's mutually beneficial, and we'll jump into that now because I'll answer that question. But I just wanted to say, don't feel like you're capped because you can't bring it in-house. Networking is huge, and you can absolutely have a very strong relationship with a development company and a small development team that you work with consistently, even if they're not in-house. So don't allow that to stop you from taking advantage of having developers as part of your team. So I would say, to your question that you asked, the benefit mostly on our side from the marketing side is just absolute freedom it gives us in our marketing strategies. I don't ever worry about, when I meet with a customer, I never feel limited on the strategy I can build for them, for their success, or for the vision they have for their company, because I'm not thinking about, well, how would we build that process? Who's going to build that landing page? Who's going to link the back end? How's that funnel going to work out? I mean, literally nothing that I know that is going to need development is limiting mine or my team's coming in our brain dumps. We're not limited by what we can do as a marketing team and what we can't do because we don't have the development to do it. And so I would say the greatest benefit, not only to our team, but more importantly, our customers, is that we're not limited. So when we have brain dumps continually in our company, where we just come in and there's nothing off the table. Our brain dumps are just anything you think that's going to get us to this goal, we're dumping, and then we obviously flush those out. But because we know we have such a strong development team, we're not limited. It gives us ultimate freedom to really put strong strategies together and to present those in a way to our customers that we know we can follow through and we can execute effectively. Not just, now we're going to go find someone, we're going to figure this out. We already know going in, we're going to be able to put that strong strategy together without limits around it, and then effectively execute that in a really good amount of time. So it's a massive benefit. Most marketers are visionaries. Most marketers are creative. So when you feel like your creative flow is, stifled because you don't have the development side of it, it really can limit you on your strategies moving forward. And because I don't have that, we go in just full open, out of the box thinking, which makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like when you've got that dev resource, I mean, you can ask any of our developers. I've grabbed them and said, "Hey, you're going to help us with this project," and they've all done it at one point, and some of them quite a bit. It really opens up what you can do on the website. You don't have to stick with the kind of out of the box, like, "Hey, here's this template for your website, and this is how it works, and this is what you can do and what you can't do." You can just do whatever you want within reason, and
Right.
and you got to be different if you're going to stand out, unless you just got oodles and oodles of money to just buy traffic and buy customers. So,
Right. And what I was going to say is having a strategy behind that is the most important thing. But yeah,
yep,
I mean, it just really amps up your strategy with that key part of development.
for sure, for sure. So let's flip it a little bit. What are the benefits and advantages for a dev team to have some marketing resource available to it?
Well, I would say that the advantage is just as beneficial on their side and into their customers, because on our dev side, like I said, most of the stuff they're doing is for custom coding or custom sites or SaaS products. And they bring in our team in there from conception and then wireframing and through. So we're thinking about their customers. They'll bring us in on consulting saying, okay, this is the end goal. This is what we want their customers. This is the experience we're trying to create for their customers. And we also have UX, UI designers on our team that help with that customer experience. But purely from a marketing standpoint, and I would say 100% of the time when we're at Wireframe, when the marketing company or the marketing team comes in and consults on that side, we're always looking at on a Wireframe, what is the end goal here? What is the customer journey you're trying to create? And we're able to make those decisions at Wireframe, rather than so many times a product will go out, whether it be a website or an app or a SaaS product or a landing page. And then you bring in the marketers and they're like, well, what's the clear goal here? We don't understand. We're landing on the page. You want people to do, you have 3 seconds. And so we're brought in at conception and then again at Wireframe, so that all that thought process is done well in advance. And we're also brought in the consulting with their customers to help. The best thing is educating the customers on what the strategy is and why. And when they can see it both from a development side and from a customer and marketing side, it's like they know they're getting that whole package, that down the road they're not going to come back and go, now we need to go back to your website and redesign these things because we didn't think of A, B, or C. So it's a massive benefit on the other side as well.
Yeah, I agree. Like having some marketing influence in the dev process, especially early on, pays off quite a bit. Like, if you ask just a developer, like, hey, build me a landing page and I need to just collect emails off of it, you'd probably get like a white page with a form on it that just says input email here. Right. Like, there you go. Right. There's your landing page. So,
and the truth of the matter is developers aren't marketers and marketers aren't developers, but we understand. I mean, in our team too, we've worked for so long together that our developers now understand marketing, so we can give them something and they already understand what it is we're wanting because we've worked with them for so long, and vice versa. I know more about development now 4 years later than I ever did coming in 4 years ago. Like, now I can understand the process. I can get a general idea. When we have something we want developed, I have a general idea of how long it's going to take, which I consider into my overall strategies. So both benefit. We're both learning from each other. And like I said, again, the ultimate goal always is our customers, the benefit to our customer base and what it is they need. And so it really is the win-win scenario, so.
Yeah, I agree. Because they work together, they both learn it, and it gets quicker, it gets better. So let me ask you this then: what mistakes do you see companies making with this relationship between marketing and dev?
I would say always it's strategy. People get working on something, they have an idea, and they just jump in and everybody starts working on it or creating code or creating content, but there's no strategy behind it. So then you start getting a lot of back and forth, and development gets frustrated because, even changing something as simple as on a landing page is what looks like text, but that text is embedded in an image, that now they have to go back and change the code. And, there just wasn't a strategy behind that, as to where, I say this a lot to my customers. It wouldn't matter how much money you had. You could have the best contractors in the world and all the best, supplies out there. But if you went to go build a house and everybody showed up, the very first thing they would say is, where's the plan? So, the money doesn't solve it. All the best people working on it don't solve it. If you don't have a plan and you don't have a strategy, and that strategy includes what part is the development side, what part is the marketing side, what is the end goal we're trying to get to, and everybody following that map, you just end up, like I said, you're not going to get the house you wanted to build. You might get something, similar, but it's not going to ultimately be what it could have been had you had a strategy in place. And time wasted and money wasted, which I hate wasting either of those things, especially time. I'm one of those people that believe that time is our greatest asset, not only for me, but for my customers. So I would say 100% strategy is the biggest mistake that customers make in these, going back and forth. So
I agree. Not having that plan, like you can throw them together, but if there's not really a plan, like it's not going to matter,
when you have
Oh,
a
yeah.
plan and you that along, the development team understands it. And when the development team has a plan and they pass it to us, we understand it, and that plan is we come to get together to put that strategy together. So if that's our start, then from that strategy, everybody gets busy and everybody knows clearly what their roles are. And more importantly, what is the end goal? Not just what we're creating, but what are we creating it for? What's the end goal of this strategy? And if we're off, we can clearly see it. We're like, well, we thought we were going this way, and we're actually heading this way. So we need to readjust and realign. So
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for sharing all your insights with us, Jeannie. If people want to reach out to you and continue the conversation, what's the best way for them to contact you?
I would say the quickest is probably just email me directly, which is jenny@marketingsimplify.com. You can also call me directly. I don't know if you're going to have if you want me to give my phone number or if you're going to have it somewhere. So if you wanted to reach me directly, it's 801-361-0422. I would send you through the office line, but then you get put on hold and it's just a whole lot of going around. I'm one of those very personable people. I like to just talk to people myself. So that's my direct line if anyone wanted to contact me. So
Awesome. Thanks, Jeannie, and we'll chat later.
hey, thank you so much, Billy. Thank you for having me on. We'll see ya.